This is a research overview for Seven Cups. At the highest level, Seven Cups is working to help solve the mental health crisis that we all face. Broadly, we think there's a lot of demand and not enough supply. We have a lot of people seeking help, people with depression, anxiety, substance use rates, it's all going up. And in the current model, we have a number of clinicians, but we don't have enough clinicians to help scale to meet the global demand. So at Seven Cups, we train volunteers, regular people, to become trained volunteer listeners. They go through an hour-long training program, pass a test with a chatbot that acts like a student that's depressed, make an oath to treat people with dignity and respect, and then get enrolled in our 280-level continuing education program. These trained volunteer listeners come from all around the world, 189 countries, 140 languages. These volunteers work with clinicians plus technology, and as a consequence, we're able to help many, many more people. At present, we have 470,000 listeners. And there's four main parts of Seven Cups. There's the active listening piece that I just discussed. There's community, so people supporting one another through forums. The third part here is growth paths, which I'll highlight more later, which are basically bite-sized exercises or treatment plans to help people overcome specific challenges. And the last part is therapists. So 99.8% of what we do is at no cost, but 0.2% of people upgrade. Further, on the research front, we've been recognized as a healthcare innovation leader among the most reputable organizations. We won the Stanford MedX Award for Healthcare Systems Design, and we just won the World Economic Forum Tech Pioneer Award for transforming mental health and benefiting society for years to come. In addition, we've had 7 peer-reviewed studies published on us, all by third parties, some of them on schizophrenia spectrum disorders, some on perinatal depression and anxiety, and some on therapeutic alliance levels that listeners reach. When we think about research, we think about innovation. And to best understand innovation, it's helpful to think of a formula. And the formula is talent plus luck plus number of experiments equals innovation. And this is modeled after Edison's lab, where it was basically a innovation factory. You would have 100 scientists, hundreds of materials, just running experiments constantly until they found experiments that worked. And those would become innovations. So the question on Seven Cups becomes, how do we scale research and innovation in a way that we can afford or is cost effective? So we think about this in terms of partnership. We have data and we have people. What we need are engineers and scientists. And when you think about a university lab, they have engineers and scientists. What they need are data and people. So we think we can create an integrated model of innovation where we provide the data and the people, and the labs provide the engineers and the scientists. And as a consequence of this partnership, we're able to scale innovation pretty dramatically. And it would look like this. At present, we have CMU and Georgia Tech and a few other universities that we're just starting to work with. But imagine if we had dozens or even hundreds of universities. And each university is doing a number of experiments on Seven Cups. Some of them get lucky, and some of them yield a unit of innovation. And then these innovation units stack up, and we're able to help many more people in the process in an innovative manner. We are starting these research partnerships with growth paths. So growth paths are small, bite-sized exercises that a person takes to better overcome a particular challenge. So you can imagine if I'm struggling with, say, worry, these would be small steps that would help me better estimate the odds. Is something really bad going to happen, or is something bad not really likely to happen? Because people that worry tend to emphasize things that could go wrong when things are pretty unlikely to go as wrong as anticipated. So a growth path would consist of small steps that would help me better estimate the real chances of something going wrong, as an example. So with this tool, anybody will be able to come to the platform. Any expert, any trusted member or listener, any author will be able to come to the platform and say, I want to create a growth path for X. I care about this population of people. I want to help them learn how to solve this problem. I'm going to create a growth path for this. Secondarily, they might also say, I want to create a training path. So I want to be able to support listeners to also help this population. So in addition to creating a growth path for a person seeking help on that issue, they could create a corresponding training path to help listeners also learn how to help those better people as well. And all of this is free and at no cost. The goal is for us to dramatically increase the number of growth path steps and the number of growth paths on the platform so we can help people across hundreds and hundreds of issues. And as these steps and paths are created, we're going to learn which ones are the most effective. And then we'll be able to recommend those effective ones to people on 7 Cups at no cost. Let me now transition to a demo of the playlist feature. Okay, now we're going to transition to the playlist growth path builder. So we call it a playlist because just like you can grab different songs off of Spotify or different videos off of YouTube and reorganize them, people will be able to take different steps from different paths, mix them up to make their own paths. So how this starts is you enter in the name of the path. So I'm going to call this Overcoming Worry. I'm going to select the user type. It can be just for members, people seeking help. It can be just for listeners, so these would be training paths, or it can be for members and listeners. And you'll notice as I choose that, this populates. These are all of our steps and capabilities. Next thing I can do is select an icon. Or I can choose an icon. This is the image that I want to represent the path. So I'm going to browse my computer, and I'm going to grab this worry image, and now you see it there. Now I'm going to write a path description. So I'm going to say, learn and take practical steps to overcome worry. And so the tag, so when people search for something, they search for a path, they're going to be able to choose, the search function will use the title, it'll use the description, and then it will use the tag. So I'm going to add the tag here, anxiety, CBT, and changing your thinking. Next is select categories. So this isn't really an ADHD path. It doesn't have anything to do with alcohol or drug use, but it does have something to do with anxiety. And it also has something to do with social anxiety and work stress. So whenever anybody looks for these categories and the paths that are associated with these categories, this path will show up. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add a wellness measure. So this is the PHQ and the GAD-7, PHQ-9, GAD-7. There'll be many more measures you can add soon. And then I'm going to look and I'm going to see what kind of steps do we have for worry. And you can see we have a dealing with worry. We have an exercise here called letting go of worry. We have a CBT exercise here that asks what's the worst thing that can happen, so you can begin to estimate more reasonably what's the likelihood of something that's going to happen. And then at present, there's about 500 different steps that are available. And there's many, close to 100 mindfulness, and then a whole bunch of videos as well. And then you notice here you can search all of the steps by the ones that are most favorited. You can search for the ones that have the most upvotes. You can search by comments, or you can search just by your steps. And similarly, just like you're adding steps here, you can also drag and drop repeated steps. So steps that you want to happen every so often in the path, like maybe every 5th or every 6th step, so on and so forth. Okay, so now we've put in a wellness test and we've added three different steps. So we're off to a good start. But let's say there's a video that I think is really good that I liked that I don't see here. I can create a new step. So when I create a new step, I'm going to call this Great Video on Overcoming Fear. Okay, so the description is going to say, hey, watch this 30-second video, to learn more about how to manage anxiety. And my tags are going to be short video, worry, fear, anxiety. And again, this is a listener and member path, so I'm going to choose both member and listener. And then what you see here is an HTML editor. So I can write text in here. I can bold it if I want. I can increase the size of it if I want. I can change the fonts. I can add all kinds. I can grab an image from the internet if I want. But for this video, let's say I'm gonna embed a YouTube video. So I click on this link and then I go here. And this is I haven't watched this video, but let's see. I do know it's a 30-second video. It's got 33,000 upvotes, so that's good. So I'm gonna click here, share. I'm gonna grab the link. I'm gonna go back to our builder. I'm gonna add the link here. And so now you see it here. So now I'm gonna create this step. And the site's going to tell me, hey, nice job. I'm going to click this. Okay, so now here's my great video on overcoming fear. I'm going to slide that in. Now you see it. And for our purposes, just for this demo, I'm going to move this up here, and I'm going to move this here. Okay, and now my path is pretty much done. So now I'm going to click Save. Oh, title's duplicated. This is what happens when you do too many demos. So now I'm going to call it Overcoming Worry 2. So then we click Save. And now we see Overcoming Worry 2 here. And I can preview the path, or I can select this path. So let me select this path to start. So I'm going to return to my growth path. So now you see the title, Overcoming Worry 2. And now you see that I'm here. And there's my text that I wrote. There's the title. There's the video. Let's say I watched it. And now I'm on the second step, which is an ACT exercise or an acceptance and commitment therapy exercise. And you notice that there's a text box here. So growth path steps can also have text box where people can enter in information. So I could enter in my worries here. So what you see in this brief tool is that we are able to create growth paths relatively easily, and anybody can create a growth path. Experts and non-experts. You can add measures at the beginning, so a test at the beginning and a test at the end to see if your growth path has had an impact or helped people. You can add steps, and you can remix steps. So what you'll see emerging from this is we will have, we already have 500 exercises in there that you can use, but there will be tens of thousands of different exercises for every potential health issue. All kinds of psychological strengths and positive attributes that we want to develop as well. And people will reorganize them into paths. And over time, we'll figure out what steps and what paths best help people. We'll know, hey, this type of path is really good for depression, or this type of path is really good for overcoming anxiety. Or if you're afraid of crossing bridges, as an example, this is a crossing bridges path to help you better cope with that kind of fear or concern. So just about every issue can be converted into a growth path or a training path. So we're very excited to be working with researchers, our members, our listeners to build out path steps and growth paths. If you are an expert or a researcher and you have a protocol or a treatment plan that you would like us to digitize at no cost, you can send it to us at info@7cups.com. We will work on it and email you to review it. Thank you.